So I grew up in West Texas, in Midland, which is an oil town. In terms of my family life, I have one brother, grew up with mom and dad, very, very close. Wasn't a sports person. I tried to be, but skill level was not there. But I was very into singing and the choir and that type of stuff. Participated in my youth group at church, sang in the choir there. I was in a couple of plays as well when I was growing up. Bye Bye Birdie, South Pacific, that type of stuff. I've always been an avid reader, love to read, and I always read kind of above probably what I should have. So I think I was in third or fourth grade, so pretty young still, and I was reading a Mary Higgins Clark book, so it was a mystery book, and it centered around a psychiatrist and their patient, and they're being on trial for murder or whatever. It was really interesting to me. And so the whole idea of psychology, that book, which it seems kind of silly, but that really is the thing that I was like, I kind of want to do that. And so I continued to read, and really I've never looked back. That's what I've always wanted to do. So I went to the University of Dallas to get my undergraduate degree. I got that in psychology. I kind of took a break from school and I was working, and I worked for an inclusive preschool that had children with autism and then typically developing children together, doing behavior analysis. And so I fell in love with working with kids at that point. And so I worked my way up to where I was actually the director of the preschool for a while. I decided to go back to graduate school with a 2-year-old, and I was still working, so it was kind of challenging. But I went back to grad school, and I got my master's in counseling. And so my plan was to work with kids. I always wanted to do private practice work with kids. But while I was in my graduate program, I got placed at the Juvenile Detention Center for my practicum. And that was terrifying in theory, but I absolutely loved it. I loved it. And so I got to do individual counseling with the kids. I got to do family counseling to kind of work on anger management and appropriate communication skills and that type of stuff. And that's when you would see the improvement, when everyone kind of was on board. Most of those kids just wanted someone to actually see them and pay attention to them and listen to them. I think a lot of them had undergone their own traumas, and that's kind of led them to be where they were. And so really just connecting with them and giving them your undivided attention is something that I think was unique for a lot of them. And so obviously there were some people that were more resistant, but by and large they were ready to talk. They needed to talk. I mean, I think that's kind of the key to all of us. God made us to where we are meant to be social creatures, and so we're meant to bear each other's burdens and kind of be there for one another. So I think that's kind of where counseling comes in, is like the healing power of the relationship. I have about 2 or 3 clients that come to mind that I really felt like I made a difference there. I was able to really help them. And the common denominator with those clients was grief, actually. Those were people who had lost a parent or a loved one to suicide. And so it was a very specific kind of issue. And so I was able to work with them doing a variety of techniques to kind of process that. And you just really, as you worked towards the end of it, you could see a significant difference.